Hello, I'm Shanahan here with Minion Pawn and J-Nails doing commentary on Dominion League Season 42 Division I13, ElZorro versus TasteHumanity.
Hello.
So these folks, at the moment, I think ElZorro leads the division, and TasteHumanity is bringing up the rear. So there's definitely multiple matches left to go for both of them. So this match, it's not going to affect, I think, very likely whether TasteHumanity ends up higher than ElZorro. Both of them have a stake in this because ElZorro is looking to maintain first place, and TasteHumanity like to get out of demotion territory. So there's probably a lot on the line, I think, for both of them individually.
So I think a 2-5 here is pretty good. You can open Sanctuary. The two going for Haven. I don't know if I might have gone Tracker, but not positive which one's better.
I'm a fan of Tracker on too, especially if the other thing you're buying is not Terminal. I think there's some boons that can be really helpful if you get them early, like Flame's Gift or Will-O-Wisp. And just top decking is often nice. You can get like an extra buy essentially into the shuffle. Like if you see Tracker turn 3, then you buy a Priest. Now you have played the Priest turn forward, just like if you got to open with Priest as well.
So TasteHumanity went Priest over Sanctuary on the open, which I don't agree with, but definitely one here.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like Priest is not a bad card. I would be buying Priest on 4 here for sure, but I think I prefer Sanctuary.
Payload looks a little bit limited here in terms of how you're going to get to provinces.
Yeah, I think that probably my goal. There's, I'm conflicted. On the one hand, you could build a big deck here, which does look pretty appealing, like University plus Watchtower, draw to X, Priest Mega Turn. I think that's probably my ideal deck. That being said, I think that's a difficult deck to pull off, and probably the much simpler alternative deck would just be Sanctuary Golden deck. Just to flesh out both of those. So Sanctuary exiles cards, and an exile victory point card is still worth points. And so something you can often do with Sanctuary is just like get your deck really thin, down to like, for example, like 2 golds, a silver, a Sanctuary. Would be like the trivial example of this. That deck can buy a province every turn, and then exile the province every turn. So you're 100% guaranteed to hit province every single turn from there on out. And so you could open with like Tracker, Sanctuary, pick up a second Sanctuary or a Priest, and then just try to get your deck down to like 2 golds and a silver or something like that as quick as possible. And that would be totally fine. Or even like Priest, Copper, Gold, Province would work fine. The alternative deck that I think is stronger is drawing between University and Watchtower and then playing a bunch of Priests every turn. Or not every turn, but probably towards the last few turns, which generates money in like a geometric progression where like the first one's worth 2, but the next one's worth 4, the next one's worth 6, and then 8, and so forth. And then that deck could easily do 4 or 5 provinces in the final turn.
Yeah, I can see that. I was thinking originally something with University, Watchtower. I mean, Haven and Candlestick Maker are both good cards with Watchtower. And with Academy, then Watchtower should be pretty good here.
Yeah, I think the deck you described, J-Nails, is a very high degree of difficulty. You've got to really be patient and build correctly, otherwise you end up with a bunch of priests that you can't play because you're either lacking actions or you're lacking cards to trash. So moving more towards the Sanctuary and a couple of golds feels like a good target. That being said, I think University's probably potentially fine to have along the way. You can pick up more Sanctuaries, more Hostelries, Havens, and like little pieces that you end up then exiling more. End up being cantrips like Hostelry or Haven that can not get in the way of that deck.
I think I disagree on that. I think if I'm not trying to build an engine, I don't think I want University. Because like if you're not planning to draw, like namely with Watchtower, the University is itself like an Acropolis, which is like a real bad card to have in a big money deck. Plus the potion itself is like another junk card, and then at that point, you're barely even getting Sanctuaries faster if you're not drawing through the Universities every single turn. So I think that if you're playing the Sanctuary deck, which is probably what I would do at the I League level, I probably wouldn't get University here.
I was thinking something like if you can University Hostleries, discard for horses, and then play Watchtower. Like that, it just seems like a Watchtower board to me.
Oh yeah, Hostelry would see a lot of play, I think, in the optimal deck that we're describing with like University Watchtower. I really like the idea of like using Hostelry to get estates, or not estates, coppers out of your hand to make Watchtower draw more. That's definitely a nice play, I think. The problem, of course, like let's say you do a little bit of this, like you play the university stuff halfway, but are otherwise still playing money, like buying golds and whatnot. Is the Watchtower deck does badly with treasures, because obviously Watchtower can't draw past your treasures; they're stuck in your hand until the end of your turn. And then B, Sanctuary mitigates this a bit, but draw to X decks also I think struggle a lot more with early greening because green cards also get in the way. And so I think if you're building the like University Watchtower deck, what you really want to do is build a big turn that buys like 3 or 5 provinces all at once in the very end game.
And horse is
ElZorro.
potentially something you can trash for your priests as well.
Yeah, I think you'll definitely want a lot of sanctuaries with the priest deck, because both you'll need and Candlestick Makers could work as well. You want a lot of plus buys, not just to like pick up a bunch of provinces in one turn, but also to like buy coppers, because you'll need to keep adding more junk to your deck to trash with the priest. Yeah, horses can work around.
In this turn, I was thinking like something with the gain Hostery, discard coppers, play improve, then just get 2 potion to buy university. That seems optimal there. Actions should not be a problem anymore.
Yeah, both players seem content to ignore the hostelry pile. Maybe they're not quite understanding the strategic ramifications of those horses. But TasteHumanity also had 3 potion and opted to get a silver over the university. So I wonder if they're regretting their potion buy already, and they think they're just going to go towards the money deck, or if they're going to try to get a potion here.
Yeah, despite them both having potions, only 1 university has been gained between them, and even the person who had 1 had the opportunity to get a second one and didn't. It certainly, picking up a potion is not worth it if you're just planning to get a single university. With alchemy, a lot of the cards, the cards with potion costs, they have to be really good by nature, because adding a potion to your deck is just such a massive drawback. You're basically like, the first turn you buy it, A, passing up on a $4 buy, which is usually a good card you could have bought, and then B, adding a junk card to your deck, to then only C, get another card into your deck that's good, like another shuffle down the road when you find your potion. So it's like 4 turns away from you like playing the good card for the first time. And so it's a big upfront cost to even buy a potion in the first place. And so you're only doing that if you're really getting a lot of use out of it, which you could here if you're getting a lot of universities. But it doesn't seem like they are super interested in doing that.
Yeah. Hostelry is a card I think that in this kind of king you just expect to see the pile, even if unless you're going for the strict golden deck strategy, you'd expect to see the hostelries, just sort of disappear because, absent other things to do, you university for a hostelry and gain a bunch of horses.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because, like, on the one hand, the card at hostelry itself has very little value in this game. You don't need actions. Academy will be like functionally infinite actions. But it's just the on gain effect is really good when your draw is Watchtower, because you'd rather have the coppers not in your hand than have them in your hand. Even if hostelry like did not give horses, if I was to like gain hostelry, discard all your coppers, it would still hold a whole lot of value here.
Yeah, and ElZorro is a little aggressive in their exiling here. I would think they would want to trash these coppers rather than.
I definitely would have kept that last one.
Yeah, so if they wanted another university, they should definitely have kept that copper to trash with priest. I don't like that. I think a valid alternative might be to say, all right, this potion has outlived its use. I'm just going to kill the potion with priest and buy like a Haven or a Candlestick Maker. That would have been fine. But keeping the potion and exiling the copper seems like a mistake, because the only reason you would keep the potion is to get university in the future, and you passed up on a literally free university there with no opportunity cost. So there's no way that strategic decision made sense.
Yeah, definitely discard for a horse there.
They passed out a free horse, right? I guess if you're buying silver instead of university, then it wasn't a totally free horse. I think this one is described with inconsistency. Is they built the like university deck, but rather than doing university and watchtowers, they're now pivoting towards treasures, which doesn't really drive with any of this.
Okay, estate.
So the
Okay, then undo maybe with
I
Myth
mean,
Click.
pretty much all the 2s are better, or a silver. I mean, it's just for an extra point if you exile it, but that totally doesn't seem worth it to me. It's league.
Yeah, they may be thinking, oh, hey, look, I'm running out of stuff to exile with my Sanctuary. Let me get an estate, which is a free victory point, and then I can exile something. It almost seems like they think the exile capability of Sanctuary is mandatory. I think they've done it every time, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Sanctuary is Contra, upgrade and junk dealer and such. Sanctuary is optional. You don't have to exile.
So
Sanctuary is a great card.
yeah, from an instructive perspective, I think they both say, oh, University is a good card, and then they realize after buying the potion that, wait, there's not that many things they actually want the University to do. And, I think having a very focused in this kingdom sort of saying, well, what do I want my deck to be? If you say I want my deck to be 2 golds, a silver, Sanctuary, then, okay, I need to get a priest to trash faster. Maybe you'll pick up some improves along the way because you can improve them into another piece, and then only click on cards from those piles or the piles that get you to there, rather than somewhat, oh, this card looks good this turn, and going for that on a turn by turn basis.
I'm gonna estimate that the simple Sanctuary deck probably would have started provincing roughly around turn 9 or turn 10. And again, that would have just involved like either opening like Priest Silver or Sanctuary Tracker on the 5/2. You pick up like a silver, 2 golds, some additional sanctuaries, and then you just exile everything else until you're down to like 4 cards, and you buy Province of Return. And then that deck is 100% guaranteed to do Province every single turn forever.
Yeah, and that seems a lot better than what's happening. A lot more reliable.
Yes.
And
the deck they're building desperately would want Watchtowers in it, because that's the only draw here. But they're also not particularly focused on the Watchtower pile. Like I would be wanting to like win the Watchtower split.
Yeah, and I don't even think Academy is that important, especially if you got University. If you're doing a University hostelry thing, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it's some nice reliability. Like if you have a hand with just a Watchtower in a village, you still don't dud, something like that. You can get by with that Academy.
And TasteHumanity was just able to do the University discard, gain some horses, which is quite nice. And they've got the dreaded 6, which, as we all know, means if you can get to 6, you have to buy gold.
Please no. All right, silver. I'll take it.
I'm not sure gold might have been better in that spot, but maybe not. You want to save those coffers.
Yeah.
So ElZorro's, we'll see if they realize you don't have to set aside.
They're exiling
They
their own
exile the
Sanctuary.
Yeah. So it looks like they don't realize that you don't have to exile every time.
Yeah, that's unnecessarily painful to their own deck.
Because in the golden deck, you can have an arbitrary number of sanctuaries. There's really no reason to ever exile a sanctuary for something else.
They absolutely insist on keeping this potion despite very rarely using it.
Yeah, University has the value earliest in the game.
Yet again, they kept the potion to not buy University. Why is the potion
they
in the
kept
deck?
the potion instead of a
why keeping it
sanctuary?
around? I don't understand.
Yeah, because the University value is early, it makes sense fairly early in these kind of decks to get rid of the potion. And that's true with a lot of with various of the potion cost cards. I guess Apothecary and Alchemist, you don't want to get rid of the potion early.
I suppose Chattateo has a good point, which is like, if you start with the false presupposition that Sanctuary makes you exile things, then maybe you're like, oh shoot, this card's dangerous. I do need to get rid of it now.
Yeah, if you compare to Junk Dealer, you do often end up junk dealing a Junk Dealer or upgrading an upgrade into gold.
Yeah. And TasteHumanity just bought the gold.
Yeah, and both these cards, Hostelry and Sanctuary, are in the latest expansion.
Ooh, Ooh,
So-
this is definitely a major misplay.
Definitely play improves first. I mean, all of them. You don't have to worry anything about actions.
Yeah.
Got
So-
12 villagers.
Yeah, even let's say you forgot the villagers were there. You have 3 actions, and then you've got 3 improves and a watchtower. You would still play 1 improve first, and then you have 2 actions left, and then you play the watchtower and draw. And then your watchtower is drawing an extra card because your hand size is 1 smaller, so it's going to draw a little farther. Now, ElZorro has like infinite villagers; they're never going to run out. So they definitely could have played all 3 improves and then played the watchtower and drawn like 3 more cards than they did.
And they're
I like
already
the idea to liquidate the hostleries and the duchies, I think they serve their purpose. You can exile them with the sanctuaries that are on your exile map.
and you can gain them back pretty easily with the universities that you still have.
Hopefully they do.
Yeah, it's pretty sad to see only 1 watchtower gone. I really think there's a lot of potential for it.
Yeah, like again, ideal deck here, I think. Like we described the sanctuary deck as being like the best for like I-League level, but like the theoretically ideal deck here is just playing like lots of universities and watchtowers and then like killing lots of things with priest along the way.
Mhm.
And another thing that we haven't talked about yet, but I think that it additionally points in the direction of that being the best deck, is there is a second stack of provinces here in the form of fairgrounds. You could easily get 15 uniques here, especially with like an exile map to stash like random stuff on. And so it really lengthens the time you have to build. The engine player could ignore provinces entirely and just outscore via fairgrounds. And so I'd be happy to play the mega turn and just take a bunch of fairgrounds.
Yeah, you're really probably playing with all 9 actions. Maybe you never get a haven, but probably you end up getting a haven at some point. So you end up playing with all 9 actions, and then at least copper and potion will be in your deck and province. So you get to 10 trivially, and you probably get to 15 very easily.
Yeah.
You'll get the Will-O-Wisp, when you're playing a tracker every turn in that deck, you'll get the Will-O-Wisp pretty quickly.
Now, here's something nifty. You can actually theoretically here get to 20 if you take every action in this kingdom. Because there's 10 in the kingdom, plus 8, the 7 generic cards plus potion, that's 18. And there's also Wisp and Horse. And so if you collect every card, your fairgrounds are actually now worth 8 points, which is more than province.
Yep. This is the weird corner case where it's okay to sanctuary a horse. If it's the last horse and there's no more hostleries left.
Yeah, I would hang on to a horse just to retain the theoretical possibility of getting 8-point fairgrounds, because that sounds very appealing.
The other nice part about playing the engine against the golden deck is the golden deck, you can predict, sort of arbitrarily long in advance what they're going to do, how long they're going to take to empty the provinces. Mm-hmm. So once they've got to the golden deck and there's 6 provinces left, you have 6 turns to gain as many points as you can. And really the best they could do is stop and get Duchy Estate one of those turns. And that ruins their golden deck. So it lets you build sort of arbitrarily big to a turn and you get something like 4 or 6 fairgrounds. I don't know why I only chose even numbers there, but... So this is another spot where they can do some really nice watchtower stuff if they play the improves first.
Yeah,
yes,
so hopefully
please.
They'll not make... Okay, they're doing it this time. Play one more. All right, this is the correct way to do that. I think they've figured out the error of their ways. That one watchtower drew 4 cards. That's like as good as a hunting ground, and it's only 3. You would think that they would realize, oh wow, this watchtower is doing like a lot of work for me or for my opponent from TasteHumanity's POV, and then acquire more than one.
Yeah, and they just gained 2 sanctuaries and got one out of exile.
I like that.
So yeah, if they're thinking that you have to exile, then exiling a sanctuary in the
like
first
one
place.
sanctuary and and watchtower is probably ideal there. It does bug me that this potion is still around and they're not using it. They might buy university here. I have 2 potion left. I don't know if you should, but why do they have the potion?
Yeah, university just seems very unoptimal in this part of the game.
Yeah, like they should have trashed / exiled that potion quite a ways back.
Improving the sanctuaries to fairgrounds.
Okay, so that actually makes more sense there, why they took 3, because they were going to get rid of 2.
Yeah.
I don't know that now is the best time to have done that, but it certainly is logically consistent the way they played out that turn. and we'll see. TasteHumanity seems pretty far behind at this point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
ElZorro's gotten a lot thinner and has a lot more action density.
I don't get the function. Like, what is TasteHumanity's deck trying to do? I can't tell. It's just like a grab bag of cards. It doesn't feel like it has a consistent point to it.
Yeah, and I mean,
It's just for more points, I think.
Are we talking about ElZorro? They gain them with their improve. Obviously, you couldn't improve into province.
yeah, I think probably they're just thinking, I can get these victory points now. I can get these victory points with the fairgrounds. And from TasteHumanity's perspective, I think you're building. There's good cards here. They're kind of building. They're building a deck that takes the cards they think are good and putting them all together into some combination. I agree with DZ. Yeah, I agree with DZ. Probably you want to try to build up towards that last turn where you get rid of the engine pieces, but they have not been playing with that strategy at this point. So I think that that strategy is pretty complicated to get to work out.
Looks like a pile out with duchies, sanctuary, hostelry could happen.
Yeah, although I tend to expect provinces.
Oh, good.
I tend to expect provinces to run out here.
I tend to expect provinces to run out in literally every single I-League game. They don't do 3 piles. That's not really a common occurrence.
I mean, the 3 pile is complicated. If you play Dominion IRL, like the 3 pile almost never comes up. It's a complicated strategy, and it's also hard to sort of spot the pile pressure, especially when they haven't gotten as many universities.
Yeah. Like obviously, like DZ's comment is definitely theoretically correct. The ideal deck here builds up to have like 30 or 40 money turn.
Yeah.
Lots of victory cards. Nonetheless, I think it is very unlikely we see that.
There might be an unintentional pile out. I've seen that before. But ElZorro looks pretty won here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're kind of doing the thing we mentioned with the Sanctuary. If you look at their exile map, they've got 5 green cards down there. TasteHumanity doesn't have any. So as TasteHumanity adds victory points, their deck is getting worse, and ElZorro's deck is roughly remaining neutral, although they're not perfectly able to match pace.
To their credit, TasteHumanity has gotten rid of their potion, which ElZorro's still keeping around.
Although last turn they discarded it for a horse, so...
Yeah, that turn, I could see the logic to it. You had duchies to exile, that potion's getting you something.
Okay, so this is the dream draw here, unless they get the... I was going to say the Wind's Curse, but actually that would be fine in that spot.
Horse first is...
Yeah, they need to play the Watchtower first there.
Yet again, that Watchtower drew 4 cards. Could have drawn 5. Such a great card. I want them to have more. They're playing universities anyway, and there's one action card here that is just doing so much more for your deck than any other, and it's not that one.
Yeah. Now, if there was
a pouch discard,
Watchtower is better.
If there was Diadem in this kingdom.
Just burn all the villagers at the end.
Yeah, but I assume here we're actually going to see province and a couple more green cards.
They're going to improve 2 sanctuaries to fairgrounds, likely, or hostilities to duchies.
Yeah, I think I'd rather turn the hostilities into duchies than sanctuaries into fairgrounds.
Yeah,
sanctuaries
definitely
have more value to the deck than the hostilities do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're going to kill the sanctuaries.
Go hostelry.
At this point, I think they've got enough VP that either decision is probably fine.
Actually, did they have a win? Let me see.
I don't think so.
I think there were a couple of coins short. They could have emptied Hostelry Sanctuary and gotten 3 improves, I think. I don't think they could have gotten 4.
I was looking at Hostelry Sanctuary Duchy. They could definitely do Hostelry Sanctuary 2 Duchy, but they came up a Duchy shy.
This is kind of
Yeah, so if they're watching that back, they could improve something into a 3 cost into hostelry, a 4 cost into sanctuary, and then buy potentially three duchies, or improve 2 hostelries into duchy sanctuary, and then buy hostelry 2 duchies if they have the money. That's the pile out to be looking for if you're ElZorro here.
Yeah, and like realistically, in ElZorro's position, I would have been fine just doing all of that and like leaving a sanctuary, like taking a hostelry triple duchy and being like, you're not going to score 30 points before I buy a single 5 cost card next turn.
I think that should be a win.
This looks like the win here, yeah. So they can play 3 improves, which gains you 2 duchies off the hostelry and the hostelry off of an improve, and they'll have enough money to buy the last duchy. So yeah, they've got the win again.
So what they can do, yeah, so to repeat that, the 2 hostelries can get improved into duchies, the improved can get improved into a hostelry, and then they've got 5 money, so they can buy the last duchy.
They're actually massively overshooting this.
Yeah.
Like look how many they could university for the hostelry, improve for all 3 duchies, and then have enough left over to buy like a province and an estate.
2 fairgrounds. Just buy 2 fairgrounds.
Yeah, that's probably more points. Yeah.
They could also pile out the fairgrounds here.
Pile up fairgrounds and then get a duchy too.
I can't tell whether they're doing it or not. If they gain the hostelry, which is the right move, although discarding them for a potion, discarding potion for a horse is irrelevant if you're piling out.
It's a double fairgrounds, yes.
Oh, maybe they're taking the fairgrounds pile out. That works as well.
Yep.
I think they'll see that. They've been improving into fairgrounds pretty consistently here. Yeah, all right,
There it
they
is.
found one. That works.
So I think overall having a coherent strategy early on in the game is really helpful there. And identifying the power stuff, which is the watchtowers, or the other strategy, which is get super thin and just buy a province every turn. I think wins, but otherwise I think ElZorro played that better and earned the win in that game.
I think this is one of the sorts of kingdoms that falsely convinces people that like engines are really bad, because there's 2 strategies here. There's like a very simple money strategy that's pretty darn good, and then an engine strategy that's great if you pull it off. And then like both of them, I think, did engine-y things. Like they got universities, they gained a lot of actions, but they didn't build, and especially TasteHumanity's deck, it's like in a very consistent way that like actually does the thing the engine's trying to do. And so these decks would have lost out to just simple like sanctuary gold province. And so like from this perspective, one solution, like you would reach a local maximum by like building less and getting green cards. Ideally, the better solution is to like build that engine correctly with more watchtowers, more priests for payload instead of golds. But the middle ground here in particular is very bad because the draw card, the watchtower, doesn't play well with the golds and anything like that. And so trying to split the difference here works very poorly.
Yeah. Okay. I will stop here and then resume for game 2.